Howdy everybody, welcome back to the third video of the vertical stabilizer redo. Um, so this is Greg and me finishing up the skin of the vertical stabilizer, and you'll notice I have a new attachment um, for my rivet gun there, and it is pretty awesome. So I highly recommend purchasing that. You can get it from Aircraft Spruce. I forget what it's called, but it looks just like that when you go look at it. But it's pretty awesome. So I would make sure you add that to your arsenal of tools. So as we go here, we do make a couple of mistakes. Some of the rivets were a little bit too much punched and some didn't look right, so we did fix two of them on this side. And this is Greg's first time bucket rivets, so he did pretty doggone good if you ask me. We only had to take two of them out. Shoot, and that's probably better than me by myself would have done, so can't shake a stick at that too much. But the instructions say to start with that front, the front spar, work your way to the, start in that middle, work your way to the tip, then work your way to the bottom, and then work your way down that middle rib. And so that's kind of what we did as we were going. We did make another mistake here, I think. Yeah, it was a little bit too much, and so we end up drilling that one out, and it gave us some trouble. For some reason, it got kind of stuck in there, so it took us some time to actually get out and fix. So not too bad though. And we just basically work at that for a while here. So while you're waiting, I'll tell you a joke. So what does corn say when it gets a compliment? Aw, shucks. Oh, that was funny. And another one. Are you ready? So what did one toilet say to another? You look flushed. Those are crazy. So here's Greg and me doing the other side of the vertical stabilizer. And Greg's fitting his arms in there. Greg is a former military guy just like me, so we have both gained a little bit of weight, but still think we could probably take over the world if we needed to. He was trying to get his arm into that small space. It was kind of funny, but we did it. We made it. It was good. And if you're looking for like a good visual, if you put your flashlight kind of in there and then kind of behind your bucking bar and then watch it as it gets bucked, it is kind of awesome. So and then we just finish up the sides basically. We use the squeezer there. We have to change the squeezer yoke a few different times because the front edge of that top, where the rivets go, is very, very tiny. You can't get your regular 3-inch yoke in there. So I have that 4-inch no-hole yoke, and it works perfect for that. So it's kind of nice. So I highly recommend a no-hole yoke as well. There's Greg using the squeezer. Then we just go across the bottom and the top. There's not really anything new with that. You guys have seen rivets squeezed a bunch of times. If you're not new to the channel anyway, you have, because you do it about 1,000 times for each part. We did make another mistake there. We put the wrong size rivet in. That happens a bunch. When you're going across the thing, wherever there's a spar or a rib, there's an extra piece of metal, and so you usually use the next size up rivet. Well, sometimes you just get going and you forget to do that. You forget to put in that other rivet because you're pulling from your pile of rivets, and it happens. So you just drill them out and then go get the right rivet and put it in. And you can tell pretty instantly that it's the wrong one. It's like, oh crap, that was not the right thing to do. So it's not that big a deal. You just fix it and move on. And then we go do the top of the vertical stabilizer. Make sure it all gets lined up. It was kind of easy with the whatchamacallits, the parts that you didn't replace that were laser cut. Like those ribs, the top, the middle, and the bottom 2 ribs. Those were ones I got off of my old one, and so they were already fluted and bent, so they were straight, and so they were pretty easy to fit in there. You didn't have to do a whole lot. You just kind of put them in and they kind of lined up and everything was fine, so it was kind of nice. And there's a picture of Greg being happy because we finished. And then this is me just finishing up the rear spar of the vertical stabilizer, putting in the last few rivets. And at this point, if you remember from the last video, I ran out of rivets, so that's why I didn't finish it, because they don't send rivets with the replacement parts. And so I did order them from Aircraft Roost, and I got them the morning of this day, and so I did finish that up. And then attaching the rear spar is pretty simple. It's basically a whole bunch of the same rivets for the skin, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 2 that go on the top, 3 that go on the bottom, and then 2 or 3 that are in the middle. I forget how many were in the middle. And the ones in the middle are the pull rivets. So you'll see me break out my new gun that does pull rivets. It's kind of nice. There, I was getting the rivets you need for the skin. And then you just punch them in there. The one thing to watch out for on that rear spar is the shop head of the rivets that are attaching the rear spar and the doubler that's in the rear spar do kind of get in the way of the the rivets from the skin, and so it's kind of hard to press them if it's in the way. And so you'll see me, it was kind of off a little bit because that shop head was in the way. So I drill it out there, try to press it in, and then I'm like, you know what, that's not working. So you'll see me, I don't even know if I've recorded it. I think I chopped it out of this video, but I switched the yoke of there it is. That's me switching the yoke again to that no-hole yoke, because the no-hole yoke it's really skinny, and so once it gets past the shop head of the rivet that's in the spar itself, you can move it in a little bit more and it catches those rivets. So another place where I really like that no hole yoke. It helps at times. And then you can go pretty quick because you know you have enough room. You just kind of slide it in as you're going up. Works out really well. You do that on both sides. And the same rivets that were giving you trouble on the other side, they're the same rivets that'll give you trouble on this side because they're all symmetrical. So I just leave the no hole yoke rivet, or the no hole yoke, on there instead of changing it. And then this is the last part here. I finish up the skin, and it's pretty quick. And the squeezer's pretty awesome. I mean, once it's set, you're pretty good to go. It'll do a whole bunch of rivets in a row pretty quick. Like you saw, that was what, 3 seconds of me doing it there. So even sped up, it was only, 30 seconds maybe of time. And then that's me attaching the top of the spar, and now the bottom of the spar. And then you will see me break out my new pull rivet gun. And there we go. There's I think they're LP4-3s that go in there, if I remember correctly. And so there is my pull rivet gun. Yay. It makes it a lot easier. It's kind of nice. And then that's me pulling off the tape. It's ready to go into storage for whenever we're going to put it on. Might have to convince my wife to move the van out, though. As always, like, subscribe, have fun. We'll talk to you later. Bye.